Should you move on right after a breakup with someone new? Experts have answers.
And this is specifically for Jared.
It wasn't.
Just so happens.
What a coincidence.
It isn't.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Katie had the story, and she didn't know, because I recently broke up.
Like, I want to make it about you, but it isn't.
No.
Well, you should be listening to this part, though.
I am listening to it.
Because you just got 2 divorces and a broken up with a serious
Okay,
girlfriend.
Jason, you don't have to do all that.
If we're keeping tabs.
Right.
Katie just said this won't be about Jared. I got a feeling it will be.
Oh, boy.
I got a feeling we've got a way to do it.
It wasn't planned that way, but the timing is bad, good. I don't know. Either way.
Here we are.
Maybe it's more evidence for you, Jared.
Yeah, maybe so. Although we do.
He doesn't need the more evidence.
I already have
part.
enough evidence
Yeah.
of life is not easy. But should you move on? I already have that evidence.
But for the record, because some people were asking me yesterday, they heard through the grapevine that Jared got broke up again. And I was like, no, it's 2 divorces.
Jason, I'm just telling you right now, the joy you take and things that are bad that happen to me, it's karma's coming, man.
I'm not taking joy. What I'm taking joy in the fact is I can find
every 2 seconds. On the air, off the air, in text messages, in call. It's like, it's fun. I get it. I can take a joke, but it's like too much coming from you all the freaking
because,
time.
let me tell you something. I emulate the horrible comments you say about how Carol called you yesterday to come over.
I haven't said that in a long time.
2 weeks. Ooh. And for 17 months, I couldn't say a damn word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody agree with me that we were just restricted and not be able to say anything?
Well, yeah, but that's a different point.
That was a different point.
Even when that relationship was going on.
When you were going through difficult times, I took no joy in it. That's how you and me are different.
I don't take joy in it, but we definitely talked about it.
Yeah, you do.
I want you to move the
Tell me
computer
what I
screen.
do. I do not take joy in
I don't want to look
that.
at him right now. I can't look at him right now.
I can't look at
No.
you.
We need our distance. I have said for a long time, I think you take joy when bad things happen to a lot of people.
That's
I don't think
absolutely
it's
not
just
true.
me.
It's just the people I don't like, which is very close to you right now.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that listen that don't like you. So.
Wow.
But even
sure.
with the way you treat me, if something bad happens to you, I don't like it at
Jared,
all.
I was on your side helping you the whole time.
No, with the divorce thing, but then anyway.
Because I don't think you should get married to somebody else.
I wasn't.
Right, but I had a bet that you were. So if anything, I've actually said, hey, you're going to be missing out on this.
You have a rooting interest in me getting married again. All right. Anyway.
Okay, so
No, and the answer is no.
The answer is no.
The answer is
It's
no.
no.
Answer.
You should not move on with someone new right after a breakup. They said you need to take time of some sort. They're not saying you can't go on dates, but that's also risky because you're not ready.
You're not ready.
And I can say even with what happened recently, breaking up, and I broke up with her, and there's reasons I really don't feel like getting into the whole thing because it's a lot. But I was even thinking about that, like, I'm not saying I'll never go on another date again, but the idea of it, it feels uncomfortable and it feels forced.
Well, yeah, because it's all fake at first usually. You know what I'm saying? At first,
it's a lot of effort.
it's like an interview.
Yes.
That type
It
of
is.
thing.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
but Jared, so I just wanted to define this though. It's saying you should not move on with somebody else, but are they saying it's okay to hook up with somebody else?
they're definitely not saying that because these are actually mental health experts. these aren't bros.
Like, this isn't going to help you.
Does the study say to get over them, get under them? Does the study say that specifically?
Let me look, Matt. No, it doesn't.
No? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it says you got to take time to reflect and reassess what makes you happy.
Getting on somebody makes you happy.
No.
Okay. Set achievable goals, write them down, help you stay focused on your growth and development. I mean, this is actual work. This is not just the fun and easy thing. Well, maybe not easy, but is trying to move on quickly.
Because you want to know why? You are distracting yourself from the work that you have to do.
Right.
And I know that is therapy talk, and I know that people are probably sick and tired of hearing it, but it is the truth. And what do we always say? No matter where you go, there you are. You're going to take in every single bit of your unhealed life and your emotions and your feelings and your personality into the next relationship that you're distracting yourself with. And if you think you won't, you're wrong.
Right.
We're
and
not
I
talking
think
about marriage here, though.
It doesn't matter
no,
about
this
marriage.
is talking about any breakup.
Yes, and breakups.
But let me just ask you something. Let's just say you're just kind of out there dating and nothing serious. Don't you think sometimes it's kind of a good distraction and It gets your mind off things.
I think if you're doing if you're
working
in
at the same
therapy
time.
and you're
Right.
really working on going through maybe what went wrong and how you can change or how this person affected you, or because it's, first of all, I guess it's not how that person affected you, it's how you reacted to them. But you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, it's a good distraction if you're doing the work.
Yes.
But if you're just out looking for the next best thing because you can't be alone with yourself for 5 minutes, that's a very big red flag.
There's two different things there. You're looking for the next best thing or just having some fun. It's, to me, it's a little bit different. Looking for the next best thing is like looking for your next wife or a serious girlfriend.
No, I don't.
Next best-
Why is it a thin line? Why do you say it's a thin line, Squid? As somebody who's single, why do you think it's a thin line?
I mean, it's just very easy to, I guess, confuse. Am I just having fun, or am I trying to cover up something that's deeper? Yeah, I guess it kind of takes some self-analyzing.
Yeah, you have
Yes.
to know.
Yeah, to like figure out, am I just trying to have fun right now, or am I trying to like run away from like my
Yeah.
deeper rooted problems?
Yes.
Right, and I think that's
High
the,
five.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
yeah.
wait a minute. Where's my high five?
No, I
No.
don't.
I think
All
I'm
right.
on Squid's page here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Squid.
Yeah, me and Jason high five across the studio.
But the,
You say that made sense to you.
I don't know. I can understand if you are solely doing it to have fun, but I guess it's very hard to say whether or not you're doing
But
that.
Squid is in a completely
But-
different place because it's not like Squid has been married before and has. I know he had a serious girlfriend, but I mean, for a lot of people that had marriage before, or even serious girlfriends before, I don't think getting out there and hanging out, and if girls are there and you're just hanging out with girls, is the worst case scenario. As long as you're not putting yourself into desperation of having to have this girl because you want to be in a relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I
feel
almost
that.
support one night stands more than.
I support
That's
that.
kind of what you're getting
Yeah.
at. And
I mean,
A
that's
little
what
bit,
that's what
yeah.
I
Yeah.
support
But those
in that
many
case.
times can turn into
But it
Pregnancies.
Yeah.
or,
well,
or relationships.
STDs or relationships. If you are open to it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but how many times we've heard people say, "Oh, we know people that are married," and they said, "Well, it started off as that,
Yeah.
and we didn't think."
If you're open to it, and this is coming from somebody who tried to have one night stands that turned into relationships,
Right.
But it was
Yeah.
like, because I think that is what I wanted.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well,
you
people
know?
will want to go out with other people.
But how many times do you hear people say, "Girl, I am going out tonight so I can just forget him"?
What's wrong with
Yeah.
that?
It's on your mind. You're not
But it
over
helps
him.
Yeah.
So
forget
how
him.
is
Oh, yeah.
that? So you can go out, have that one night stand, soil your royal oats, as you like to say,
Yeah.
do.
and then move on. But if you're not going to do what you need to do to
I
get
think-
over that person,
I think the key is if
Yeah.
you're truly not over the person, then you should not be out there.
Right.
You should not be out there, or at least not trying to be in anything with anybody else. They just say it takes time.
Yeah.
They're saying you should move on at some point, but not immediately.
Yes, because you know what I've seen too? I've had personal friends that they just, they just try to take their time, and their time ends up being like 2 years of disappearing and becoming a hermit and all of a sudden being a pothead. I mean, it just went
They're
down.
not saying
Sounds so
that.
bad.
I think you have to realize, oh yeah, when it comes to relationships and depending on one another, there is that process that I have to heal to really trust and get involved. But just hanging out with people, I don't think is the worst thing in the world.
Well,
especially if it comes with a little action.
After the divorce, so for 15 months,
17, I thought, right?
well, I'm saying before I met Anna. So for 15 months, I wasn't in a relationship. And I actually was going to therapy, and I didn't want to be in a relationship. I mean, I went out with people that were very nice, and no complaints there, but I wasn't ready. And then I thought,
Ready for what?
a relationship.
Yeah, different.
But I felt it was okay at the time. But even at first, though, I wasn't. At first, I didn't do anything. Like for the first few months, I didn't do anything because I was just so like.
And you also come from a different background.
Yeah, no, that's also true. But you're still a human being. But yeah, so I mean, I know it's complicated. It's easier to just go out and just do stuff. It is
to ignore it.
short term easier. But I think if you're really not over your ex, then you're only doing yourself and then the next person a big disservice.
Well, because you're going to rely on them without telling them
Right.
that they're supposed to bring you happiness.
Right.
And look, I get it.
It's hard.
And we're not talking about you, Jared, but in this
No,
case,
yeah.
I think the natural thought and feeling, because we've all been there, is, well, I need to prove that I'm lovable.
Right.
And I know that people want to be with me. I'm not the problem. I'm fun, which is we all feel that way.
Yeah.
But it's that in and of itself is like, okay, you need to like
but just
feel it yourself.
But just so you know, I don't think that.
I was not. I'm
Oh, I
saying
thought
we
you said-
all feel
Yeah,
that
yeah,
way.
yeah,
Is that you want to prove
No, you want
to
to be
other people or to yourself
Right.
that you are lovable and that you are worthy. But
yes.
until you feel those things without somebody else,
Right.
you're not ready.
Well, when I specifically remember, at least I think for the course of my life, maybe 3 to 4 times, and girls in all different levels of from being really young to even older of getting over them. And I do realize one thing: when I was in love per se, or the gist of what they recall
love
per se.
the gist of what they consider love may be.
The gist of love.
Whatever those feelings are.
Who was it that said,
Emotions.
can you define love? Who was that said recently? Who was that? Was a very famous person was like, well, if you can define love.
I don't remember.
Oh,
yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Prince Charles on his wedding, like near his wedding day.
Oh.
And he was like, well, however you define love. People
Yeah.
are like, that's
Ooh.
not romantic.
Yeah, that's
Well,
not good.
I'm not. No, the girls that I had a deeper connection with, maybe, right, and especially if they left me. But the girls that left me, after they left me, even when the hottest girl came along, I still had. It was the weirdest thing because you can go down the street right now, some smoking hot girl come by, and all of a sudden like, oh damn, for a second. That's how guys are. When that happened, I could care less. So just the natural course of I didn't want anything to do with any girl when I was in like the depression and upset of breaking up with a girl that I really like. But eventually it slightly dies down, and then all of a sudden, when you least expect it, you connect with somebody else. That did help me get over that other person. It helped me get over the other person because all of a sudden I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I do have a good feeling with somebody else and something like that. I wasn't looking for it, but I remember definite circumstances that happened.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's time.
Yeah, I think
it's
if you're, I think
time.
if you're relying on someone, if you're still relying on another person to make you feel like you're over the other person, I don't think you're over that person. Does that make sense? I'm not saying it's that people don't do that. We've all, I guess, done that. It's yeah. So what I was trying to say is, for 15 months, I wasn't like trying to be like, oh, I need to get somebody. I need it. That's the first time in my life, you know, that I need to be with somebody. I need to be in a relationship, and it actually felt good. It felt good to be like, no, I can have friends or meet people and stuff, and it's just that's what it is. And I was very honest about it with people. And then met Anna, and I'm, you know, 4 months. It felt a lot longer because we're together every single day, and it kind of happened more naturally. But I wasn't with her to get over Kelly. It was her because it was more organic.
There
because
was a connection.
There was a connection, and also I took over a year of not being in any relationship with, or not being in any long-term relationship with anybody. I went on dates. Does that make sense? But anyway, it's hard.
I think the time that I would say it's important for you to get out there and start dating other people is if you get out of a long-term relationship that was very toxic and bad, and you weren't treated right, but you're not convinced of that. You still miss that person and think it was okay. Then I would say you need to get out there and date so that you can see that not all relationships are supposed to be that way, and not every person's going to treat you that way, to give you a better perspective on what you should be looking for in somebody versus what you think you have to have.
That's a pretty good point, Matt.
Yeah,
Well
it
said,
is.
man. Well
I
said.
actually
he's got a
disagree
master-
100% with him.
Really?
I think people that are coming out of toxic relationships sometimes don't know that they're attracted to maybe toxic people. And so if they don't do the work, they might find themselves right back in it. How many times? I'm not
This
talking
is
about
like
myself.
talking to myself right now. I love it.
I said this is not
really is like talking to
and
myself.
I'm not saying this is me. This is not me, but I'm just saying I've seen it time and time again. Or I've talked to people who are like, I was with this guy or this girl, and it was bad, and I got into the next thing, bad, next thing, bad. And then when they get something good, I think Squid mentioned the other day, sometimes you get into a good relationship, they don't even know how to handle it because they're so used to chaos and being toxic.
That's why you need to date multiple people so that you get accustomed to not being only with these toxic people.
I think you have to do work first. I agree with. I think you have to do work first.
I agree with that.
I'm not saying
I
I'm
do.
going to do any of this
Jared's
stuff.
like, I'm not doing that.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm
doing
just
what I
saying.
say.
You see more on that
Okay.
page today and yesterday more than ever, though. Correct? Would you say that today and yesterday?
No, I felt after what happened when me and Kelly got divorced, I felt like, no, I cannot be in a relationship. So I felt that way for 15 months. Like, I cannot do this.
Yes.
But no, but and
Yes,
then, and then like
but-
trying to learn like more about myself. And I thought that and I think I know I did, because I know when I was with Anna, there were certain things that I did that I didn't know to do before in relationships. that I thought was the right thing. But okay.
And you go into counseling now?
I set a reminder on my phone today. Katie heard me to call my counselor to reset up, get back in the groove with that because I love my therapist.
I will say this because I've been to a couple counselings before, and don't judge because a lot of people have
Nobody's
gone.
judging.
Sometimes the people have to go before. Sometimes it's a good a maintenance thing. And I've had a couple different counselors, and some of them are a lot better than others for whatever reason. They just show things differently. But I will tell you one thing. Out of all the couple counseling over the last 85 years that we went through,
that you've been married,
that was not nearly as effective. Not nearly, and not to diss any couples counselors at all, because maybe it works, as effective as when I hear from a non-religious way that the Jonathan guy speak, especially 2 weeks ago. That changed a huge perspective and gave me chills and had half the people there. It was about counseling and marriage, the real vows of marriage. And it was shocking how good it is and literally actually was effective and had change.
you have had quite the epiphany.
And for those that
You
have
have.
no idea what Jason's talking about,
Yeah.
because I think a lot of people have no idea what you're talking about, when he said the non-religious way, he's talking about he's sitting in his church.
In the church.
And his pastor is preaching.
Right.
So it's the most religious way
Yeah.
possible.
Couldn't be more religious.
the most
It's not the
religious.
definition of religious.
Yeah,
But
it is.
it's not the most because what he said, especially that particular case, it wasn't a lot. There was religious aspects to it, but the advice just on if you take all the Jesus out of it, the advice of it,
It's based on
and
it, yeah.
the feeling and everything that he created. I'm serious. I told you
No,
about
you
that.
did. You said you were like, it changed your
And
view
I
on.
didn't tell you about this. I told you about this, especially the real marriage vows. And it really didn't say much about religion in that. It was half the church was crying. That's how good this thing was. I was like, what in
Jason,
the hell?
you know how when we're just talking about how the vows that we've made in our marriages and
Yeah.
why it's so important and why we believe in marriage and and you're like, well, I just don't understand. It's just a piece of paper. And we're like, nope, it's a lot more than that. We do understand what you're saying.
These
We
vows are
do-
not the regular vows. These are
Okay.
specifically.
These are secret hidden vows that I've never heard of before about
Very,
marriage.
very non-religious.
One's from the Bible.
it really wasn't that religious, these vows.
What?
And
Give me an example
They're
of a
written by
vow I've
some guys
never
named
heard.
Matthew and Mark.
he was basically making at the end of this, it was basically about marriage and relationships and a different perspective on it. And he was cited a book about the real marriage vows, just not like love you, death to us part, and all that other stuff. And then he ended up making this recording of him and his wife that played at the end. It was like, I pledge to marry you, or I vow to marry you, and when we go through the worst possible news that we possibly get on how we're going to be together. I mean, it was one after another that it just hit a lot of people.
You needed like the examples of the vows.
I didn't need
Like,
it. I
for
was just,
better
it
or for
was,
worse, you needed the specific examples of what those could
yeah,
be.
it went beyond what
I'm
you
not
can even
dumbing
comprehend.
down what you're saying. I'm just saying it's like I think for the first time you are having an epiphany of how deep and meaningful people take the vows.
Yeah,
and-
it's just
and how
a
serious.
different perspective.
Instead
on
of just being in
Yeah.
general about
Mhm.
these are the vows, I guess when you get specific examples of
It means more to you.
here's
Yeah, I mean, the horrible news to the best news. But it was very specific and personal between the two, and it didn't just hit me because
right.
half the church was crying, and those people probably have a more stable relationship,
No.
you never know.
Yeah.
You
and
never
it had
know.
nothing to do with the religious aspect. It had
It's,
nothing.
but it's all based on that.
Let the record show.
The pastor took no thought of God or
Take the Jesus
Jesus.
out.
No, he did. But
I'm saying the basis is that it all
Yeah.
comes from that Judeo-Christian
Right.
belief system. But I'm glad. I'm happy for you. I'm glad that
It's a good
had,
thing.
had an impact.
However we get there.
Whatever. You're just missing my point.
I'm not.
I'm not missing
we
your
get it.
point at all.
I'm not, Jason.
Yeah.
I totally understand what you're saying. It was a specific way
Got
that
it.
really was impactful.
Yes.
We're just
Yes.
making fun of you because you said it's not religious, and people that didn't know when you said Jonathan was that it was your pastor and you're sitting in a church. That part makes me laugh.
It could only be more religious if it were the Pope.
When you put it in context like that.
You mean the exact situation in life?
Because I think it goes just
It could,
goes
you're saying what he
beyond.
said
So-
could have been said like at
Yes.
a seminar. And
Yes.
people, yeah. Okay.
Out of any type of seminar or any type of speaker I've ever heard, ironically, I don't know if it was our conversation at lunch. this was the best thing I've ever heard in my entire life and had the biggest emotional impact on all the people I was around, including myself.
That's good.
Don't
That's
worry.
wonderful.
Good.
I still put up a wall and everything, but it was still
good.
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 And then Jason is interesting. That he almost made the point because some people say, and people disagree. I don't need to go to church to be a good person. That's true. But people sometimes say, I don't need to be in a building. That I don't understand that. And because I was like, Jason, send me that. I like to see what you're talking about. Do you have a link? Because I know they record everything. He goes, I can, but it's not the same. You have to be there.
It's
I go,
not the same.
And I'm like, you know what? That's a reminder. There's a power in being with people.
No, for sure.
Doesn't make you automatically good, but it's that recharge. It's the seeing like-minded people trying their best. It's a reminder that, and whether you go to church or not or whatever, like being around positive people with positive messages is only a good thing.
And some people might like more introverted and might appreciate it, but then when you're missing a lot. But I'm still going to send it to you.
Yeah.
Although it's the opposite of kind of what you're going through is my only.
It's still fine. I like to. There's a future, I think.
They're not
He's
talking.
got a lot of work to do with
They're
his
not talking
therapist.
about never trusting anybody ever again for the rest of your life.
No, and I know that's not going to be the case. You can't live that way.
You'll get hustled again eventually.
Thank you, Squid. I appreciate you. Well, you're a toxic king.
Yeah.
And you
Toxic
speak.
Kings have been hurting this summer. We're like down 1,000.
Yeah,
I
I
know.
don't
Maybe-
think y'all should hang out
City
anymore.
boys are down.
Maybe,
I know.
maybe we should just be a healthy king.
Yeah.
We should do that
There
going
you
forward.
go.
Maybe that'll be better going
Healthy.
forward.
Healthy, respectful Kings.
Although me and Squid are like toxic kings, and then I know Squid the way he acts with people he dates. I know the way I act when I'm actually in a relationship,
Yeah.
and we are the exact opposite.
We're
I think I
complete
called
simps to
y'all.
everyone.
Yeah, I think I called y'all at one point the exact opposite of a toxic king.
Yeah.
I said, stop calling y'all yourselves that because you are the exact.
Because we want to
opposites.
treat people well. It's like the exact
Like
opposite.
toxic
toxic.
kings don't like it when you call yourself a toxic king.
Right, exactly. They're like, y'all ain't.